Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about if, elif and else statements. This is a continuation video of conditional statements. In the previous video, we have discussed about if-else conditions. Now we will be discussing about if in combination with elif. Let us get started. If you have not watched my previous videos, please do watch them. I will provide their link in the description section below. Let us start with if, elif and else blocks. Elif is nothing but else if. It is a short form of else if. We use elif when we want to check multiple conditions in a sequential manner. That is, elif will be checking the first condition. In elif, only any one of the condition will be executed. That is, any one of the block. Either it may be if, elif or a else block. Any one of the block will be executed at a given time. The if block can have only one else block, but it can have multiple elif blocks. Let us see the execution or else the flow of if, elif and else. Here I have written the syntax of if, elif and else block. You can see here. First the flow comes to here. It checks the condition of this if block. If this if block condition is true, it will execute these two statements, that is statement 1 and statement 2. This elif and else block will not be executed if condition 1 is true. For suppose if condition 1 is false, then the flow comes here to the elif block. Then it checks the condition 2. If the condition 2 is true, then statement 3 and statement 4 will be executed. Otherwise it goes to the else block. Statement 5 and statement 6 will be executed. So we can see here it is checking in a sequential manner. That is, first it is checking the condition 1 in the if block. If this condition is false, it is going to elif and checking condition 2. If this condition false, then only it is coming to the else block. If any one of the above conditions is true, that block will be executed and the rest of the blocks below it will not be executed in else if combination with if. Let us see that with this help of this flow diagram. See, you can see here the test expression 1, which is nothing but condition 1 or else the if block condition. If that is true, the body of if statement will be executed. Here statement 1 and statement 2 is the body of if statement. After executing this if statement, the rest of the code below the if-else elif statement will be executed. For suppose if the test expression 1 or else the condition 1 is false, then it goes to the elif block. It checks the condition of elif block. Condition 2 is the elif condition in our case. If it is true, it executes the body of elif statements and then the flow goes to the code below the if, elif and else block. If the condition of elif is also false, then it executes the else block and then continues the execution of rest of code below it. Let us see an example of elif. Here we have taken the value of a as 15. Now the flow comes here and checks a greater than 10. As a value of a is 15, 15 greater than 10 will return true. As the condition in the if statement return true, the if block executes. So it prints inside if block and a is greater than 10. For suppose if we took a value of 5 here, 5 greater than 10 will be false. Now it comes to the elif block. 5 less than 10 will be true. As the elif condition return true, it executes the elif block. So it executes inside elif, sorry, it is not else here, it is elif. Then it prints a is less than 10 and then comes out of this block of and executes the rest of the code that is written down below the else block. That is the statements below. If any statements present here, it will execute those statements. For suppose this condition is also failed. When these both conditions will be failed, if we take a equal to 10 greater than 10, this condition will be failed, so this block doesn't execute. 10 less than 10, this condition is also failed, so this block will not be executed. So automatically the flow comes directly to the else block. It prints inside else block and then it prints a is equal to 10 and then it executes the remaining code if any present below it. Now let us see an example of elif in execution. We have taken the greatest of two numbers example here. Here we have taken the value of a as 30 and b as 20. We are printing those values. before executing the program. And we are checking the condition here, a greater than b. As a is 30 and b is 20, 30 greater than 20 will be satisfied. So this code under if block will be executed. As this condition is satisfied, it will not check for a less than b or else elif condition. It directly executes this line of code and comes to the code below else block. See, now if we change the value of a as 10, now a greater than b will return false. So this condition will be failed. So this if block will not be executed. Now it will check for elif block. A less than b, 10 less than 20 returns true. So this elif block will be executed. If we take both values as 10, then these two blocks will not be executed. Directly the flow comes to else block and this block will be printed. You can see it here, a is equal to b. Now let us discuss about multiple elif blocks. This is the syntax of multiple elif blocks. First comes the if condition and then there will be a series of elif conditions and finally there will be a else condition. The flow is like the flow will be like this. First it will check for the condition 1. If condition 1 is true, it will execute action 1 and returns to the code below else block. It will not check any of these conditions if the condition of if block is true. If the condition of if block is false, then it comes to the condition 2. For suppose if condition 2 is true, it will not check any of the below conditions. Directly it will execute action 2 and jumps to the code directly below else block. Now let us see the example of multiple elif blocks. Here I am taking the input from the user using the input function and I am storing the value in n. Now let us execute this. See, we are getting an error here. It is always important to understand the errors in any programming language, because if you don't understand the errors, you cannot rectify it. Let us see the error here. Here it is telling that it is a type error. It is showing that the error is in the line 3 in this condition. Why it is showing the error in this line? Let us see the description here. It is saying that greater than not supported between the instances of string and int. We know that by default the input converts the user input into a string. The value that n will be storing is of type int. N greater than 0. Here the type of n is string. As we are comparing string with integer, it is showing an error. As n is string and 0 is of type int, it is raising a type error. Now let us explicitly typecast it to int. We have seen the typecasting in our previous videos. If you have not watched it, please watch it. I will provide that link in the description section below. Now let us execute this. Now I am giving a value of 10 and pressing enter. You can see that it prints inside if block and the number entered by you lies between 1 and 10. Now let us see how the flow works here. Whenever we enter the input 10, it will be converted into int type and stored in n. Now it comes to this statement, 10 greater than 0, which is true, 10 equal to 10, which is also true. In between n is present. As both of the statements return true, n will return true. If it is an OR, if any one of the statement is true, it will return true. We have discussed this one in our Python operators concept. If you have not watched that video, please do watch it. As the compound condition inside the if return true, this block of code will be executed. That's why it printed inside if block and the number lies between 1 and 10. Now let us execute it and give the input as 15. See, it printed inside elif block. As this compound statement will be returning false as the value of n is 15, 15 greater than 0, this condition will be satisfied. But 15 less than or equal to 10, this condition returns false. So the compound statement will return false as there is a n in between these two statements. As one of them is false, and condition will be returning false. So this block of code doesn't execute. So it comes to this condition and checks the conditions here. 15 greater than 10, which is true, and 15 less than or equal to 20. This is also true, as both conditions are true and will also return true. So this block of code will be executed. You can see it here. Now let us take the value as 25. In this case, these two conditions will be failed. So it comes to this ELIF block and checks the condition. This compound condition will return true. As n value is 25, this condition will be satisfied and this condition will also be satisfied. Both of them returns true, implies the end compound statement will also return true. So this block of code will be executed. Now let us take the value as 35. You can see here it executed the else block. As the above three conditions will be failed, the flow comes here and it executes inside else block, and it also give a input to the user that the entered value is not within the range of 1 and 30, and it asks the user to enter a value between 1 and 30. I think now you have understood how the flow of multiple ELIF block works. From the starting of the video, I am saying that ELIF condition will not execute if any condition above it returns true. Here we have taken the num value as 30. As 30 greater than 10, this condition will be true. So this block of code will be executed. It printed inside first if block. Even though this condition is true, it will execute this condition. But in ELIF, it will not execute like that. If the condition above it is true, it will not execute the below condition. But here it is if, so it will execute all these conditions. As all these conditions will return true, it prints inside second block, third and fourth. You can see the result here. Now let us execute the same example with ELIF condition. Same, we have taken the num value as 30. Now it checks the first condition, 30 greater than 10. It returns true. So this block of code under the if will be printed. You can see here, now only inside first if block is printed. This is the uniqueness of ELIF. Once any of the above condition is satisfied, it will not execute the below block of code. Now let us see another example, largest of three numbers. Here I have taken the three numbers by using the input function and then typecasted with float and stored the values in num1, num2, num3 respectively. Let us execute this code. I am giving 10, 20 and 30 as the input. You can see here it printed the largest number is 30. Now let us see the flow of the code. The 10, 20 and 30 are stored in num1, num2, num3 as float values respectively, as we typecasted with float. Now it comes to here. Here num1 is 10 and num2 is 20. 10 greater than or equal to 20. It returns false. As it returned false, it will not check this condition because there is an end. Whenever there is an end in between two conditions, if the first condition is false, then it will not check the second condition. Directly it will return false to this if block. So the flow goes to the ELIF. Here num2 is 20. 20 greater than or equal to 10, which is true. So it goes to this condition. Now 20 greater than or equal to 30, which returns false. So as both are not true and returns false to this ELIF block, so this block doesn't execute. So the flow comes here. Finally else block will be executed. The largest will be assigned with 30, that is num3, and we are printing the largest. So the largest number is 30 will be printed. Now let us see some important points to note with conditional statements. Else part is always optional. It is our wish to use else in combination with if or ELIF. It is not must to use the else block. It is optional. So we have a choice to use it or not. And I have listed down the various possible syntaxes of conditional statements. If, we can write only if block, or else we can use the if-else combination. We can use if-ELIF combination without else also. And finally we can use the if, ELIF and else combination. These are the four combinations that we can use with the conditional statements. With this, we have successfully learned the conditional statements in Python. I hope you liked the video. If you like the video, please do subscribe my channel and press on the bell icon in order to receive notifications whenever I upload a new video. Please like the video and subscribe the channel. It will motivate me to create more videos on Python. Thank you for watching my video. Let us meet in the next video.